I'm Richard Tyrone Jones, by the way, and in case any of you are wondering, yes, this is my real hair. And Ronald McDonald is not my real dad. And yes, I do this same bloody joke every time. Right, yes, I really went mental on all of these, and I'll just go straight into it. Dear Deirdre, Utter. The one time I took my boxer shorts off in front of a girl, she just laughed. There's not much context there, I really want to have sex with my girlfriend now, but I'm so embarrassed at how small I am. I'm 22 and still a virgin. My manhood is less than 5 inches when erect.
Oh, dear God.
I've only ever tried to sleep with one girl before. That was the one who jeered at me. A very specific use of language there. It was a disaster, and she said I had no chance of pleasing her. Now I have a great girlfriend, but I'm really worried it will happen again. I hate having this problem. You didn't really need that last sentence, did you? Anyway, I tried to get a girl to tackle this one. But, I thought that, writing about a guy with a small penis, that would be I'd like to challenge myself with these leaps of the imagination, so I thought I'd do it. Mate, what a horrible bitch! A girl like that first no good, no matter how big your dick. 'Cause man sausage comes in all different sizes, from the massive black pudding to the small walls of Chinese. Some are pepperonis, some are chipolatas, and Deirdre says the average is only 5.1 inches for starters. And some are growers, some are showers, so don't feel self-conscious when you're in the showers. Some curve like scimitars, some are straight as a dagger, like some girls have trim labias, whilst some's pout like Mick Jagger. So don't you worry about that callous-sized queen. Girls like her, you don't know where they've been. No, it's your lack of experience, not your size that's the problem. You should tease your women to the point of climax before you knob them. You must conduct a girl like an orchestra. You don't just stick it in, you must lubricate her catgut before she'll wail like a violin. Key her like a piano, give her maracas a rattle. Tongue her like a recorder, then bing! On her triangle. Or trust me, mate, if you really want to be a player, best map her body like an ordnance surveyor. Kiss her every peak and valley, then get that tongue in. Peel back the kebab flaps and lick that mung bean. Oh! See, if you've made sure a girl's truly excited, they won't really mind about the size of your privates. And women don't trust men with big trouser snakes, because knowing it makes them arrogant. Look at me, I'm great. No, you don't have to have hands like a goalkeeper's if your great new girlfriend is really a keeper. So practice foreplay with her. Sounds like she'll treat you right. And you'll have no cause to worry as long as her love tunnel's tight. And if not, she should practice stopping her piss mid-flow. That'll tighten her flaps. And also decrease the chances of her suffering a vaginal prolapse. No. That first girl... I'm making myself sweaty up here. It's dangerous, really, with this computer. No, that first girl was a massive, insensitive twat. And given her preferences, her downstairs parts are probably also like that. It's basically just, how much filth can you take with me? Because that isn't actually the filthiest one. We're doing the writing workshop in the Sheephaven Bay pub, which we're going to be doing the night before every utter up till August, and with Sophia and writing poems. And one of them was Dr. Phil off the telly someone wrote to him and said, "My granny used to say, 'Long and thin goes too far in, short and thick does the trick.'" Was she right? And he said, "Yes, that's right." Apparently, you can only feel it for the first third of the vagina. So, I don't know. Anyway, all this talk of small willies reminded me of something that I once saw discarded in a bin. Thankfully, it wasn't a willy. It hadn't been chucked away by Jeff Goldblum, and he was turning into a Brundlefly. Little David Cronenberg fan joke there. It was actually a penis extender. So the next poem is called Penis Extender, but obviously the poem itself is not going to extend anybody's penis. If anything, it's going to give all the guys in the room an inversion. I once saw a penis extender in a bin. I knew what it was from adverts, not experience. It looked like a bell jar with a tiny pump leading into it, like the ones that used to make plastic spiders from the joke shop by Post twitch epileptically. From its being discarded, I deduced such devices don't work, or else it worked so well, its owner no longer had need of it. Perhaps it was startlingly effective. Horrendously effective. Till having a wank was like handling a wyvern. Walking down the streets was like dowsing for oil in Saudi or dog shit in Hackney. And girls fled in fear from it, like the town of Perfection fled the graboids in Tremors. Tremors 2, Aftershocks. Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. Tremors 4, The Legend Begins, and Tremors the series, 2003. Or perhaps it dilated so much that the man, initially over the moon to see his monster wang, soon found he lacked the innate blood pressure to fill his outsized dirigible, which flopped like a bouncy castle someone is trying to fill up with a hairdryer, or one that's been jumped on by an overweight adult. More likely, the vacuum was never complete, and in not entirely unexpected disappointment, his last hope, plastic contraption of desires and wishes, was discarded, not even recycled, and certainly not sold on eBay. So now, his one-eyed mole rat curls, asleep, warm inside boxer shorts, padded with socks, and has dreams in which it is a rodent Godzilla, smashing Tokyo's traffic with its stomping bullocks, shooting Shinkansen from their rails with sticky liquid ordnance, and battling flapping vaginas as huge as Mothra. Cheers. They're really fertile, these writing groups. So here's a few, when the haiku, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, when it's not about the seasons, it's actually called a senryu. So we did a few of these just using the headlines of the problems. I'm feeling confused about my sexuality, number 1. Big girls with huge tits, or small girls with normal tits, which then seem massive? I can't believe the Arts Council is funding this. I slept with my best pal's man after birthday drink. It's not that we shagged, it's that this birthday drink was only a shandy. Dream girl is pregnant by one of my brothers. Well, I work abroad. She's 6 years younger than me. But why the bald one? Son 8 is driving me nuts. Tantrums. Violence. He's jealous of friends' parents. Because we aren't divorced. I'm feeling confused about my sexuality. Number 2. Didn't know what gay meant till I was 23. We had no TV. Double meaning. Double meaning. Okay, and I wasn't going to read this, but then Sophia's limerick cycle, which is the highest. Screw your sonnets and your villanelles. There are. My perfect friend makes me feel so down. My friend makes me feel quite inadequate. Her archery's always more accurate. Her barnet is shinier. Her kitchen is pinier. And she always swallows ejaculate. I feel like a frump in her presence. Her Sunday roasts are quail and pheasants. Her kids all get A's. Her cat's not got AIDS. And when she farts, it even smells pleasant. She does yoga, so she is much bendier. I'm thinking of even defriending her. Mates should make you look good, but she makes me feel crud. You don't have a crap friend to lend, do you? Muted response to that last rhyme. Muted response, but a correct response. Last one from me before we go into the incredibly exciting paid gig contest, where, due to an administrative error, we actually have 5 poets all doing 5 minutes each. So that means that each poet has to work 0.25 times as hard to win. So that's what you've got your voting slips for. Right, okay, this is a poem from my book, which is also published by Vintage Poison Press, like James Mackay's, and it also recommended retail price $6.99, like James Mackay's. James is selling his for a £5. That means I've got to sell mine for $4.99 tonight. Luckily, I've bought a load of 1p's in preparation. Advice you never asked for. Okay, if work isn't, or the self-help tripe you've read already hasn't, try this. Avoid duty if it seems like duty. Pleasure is mostly spontaneous, isn't it? If it wears a badge saying duty, if it stinks like duty, it's obligation, especially if it markets itself as leisure. The number one piece of advice I could give you is avoid poems that tell you how to live your life, even if they're right. If you're doing what you're told, then you're doing something wrong. Life thrives on plurality. 2 turtles on a whale. The glorious biodiversity of cliché. Grow your own, but don't get stoned on them. Just nicely high. Keep an eye on your wing mirrors. It's better to machete a path through the jungle than to tunnel underground. Moles burrow, but they eat worms. Keep your mind messy and your room tidy so that when you lose your mind, you know where to find it. The big themes lie in the minutiae. Growing old is still growing. Youth glimmers in the dark because memory is a dirt filter. It pans for gold in the toilets of the past. Remember that next time you're knee-deep. Never turn down a shag. Sex, threesomes don't exist. Maybe you should try prostitution once, if only to dispel any literary myths. In confidence, sex is confidence. Never eat fast food from a place that displays a smiling cartoon image of the animal whose meat it sells. That's just wrong. Careers, what's to say? You already know they're just a means to an end, your own. Though a fag break is a fire break, redundancy might form a convenient fire exit. Family? Borrow some first. Collect more mistakes to learn from. Your parents might not be fucked up enough. Don't worry about worry. Now we have Outlook and Post-its for that. Taking a risk is different from gambling. All Tories are bastards, but that doesn't mean they're not amusing company. Find a diary which fits snugly in the pocket. Always carry plenty of water and a slim volume. Remember, anyone's advice is only ever a roadmap to where they are. And never give it. Never give advice. People only resent you for it. Especially when it's right. Thank you.